Alright guys, AT4 back blessed here with another tutorial on how to effectively use counters, integers, and integer compare objects in your snap maps. Actually, let me go here. Turn this crap down. Who cares about music, right? There's music anyway. Alright. I had a question in the forum on how to determine if all the creatures in a particular module are dead. Okay. Somebody said you should use a counter, right? And set it to a number. And that's all well and good if you're making an extremely simple map with, how can I put this? Well, if you're just making a simple map that has no real ingenuity in it, okay? And the way you do that is what I've got set up here. For this guy's particular scenario, when we enter this module, I lock this door, right? That way nothing can come through, anything like that. I have 4 creatures here. I have an integer, right? And then on each one of these killed, add a number to that integer, right? And the number can be whatever you set. All right. And this is what a lot of people forget. A lot of people do this, right? They'll have a counter. And then they'll come over here and they'll do a compare and they'll tie it to that. That does nothing. Okay? You have to attach and test. You have on changed, on value changed, or in the case of a counter, on count reached, test. Okay? And I think this may have been where the guy went wrong because he said that he did a counter and he said the door still wouldn't open. I'm assuming that he didn't connect these. Okay, so in here, my left side value is integer 3. My right hand side I've set to a static of 4 because I have 4 enemies in here. Okay, when those two are equal, we will unlock the door and also open the door. All right, and it'll leave it open. Go ahead and play. It'll work as expected. All right. All right, we come in here. Now the door didn't lock. Whatever. There's all kinds of problems with the snap map in and of itself. Alright, see? Alright. Why on player entered it didn't lock the door, I'll never know. Oh, I know exactly why. Because there is no door. Okay, vertical is fine. Door state. We'll set it to open. Alright. Now, I'm going to show you a way. Now, this is fine, right? But the guy wants to know when all the creatures in a room are killed, then we can open the door. Okay? In that specific question, if somebody has an AI classic conductor, this is not going to work because there's going to be enemies in that room at all times, and it's Time between bosses. Let's see here. All right. So a map started. We're going to do it on match started, not map started. We're going to start it. Okay. Now, whenever you enter this room, you need to stop. If you have an AI conductor, you need to stop it. Now, if you stop it, you might want to just do pause. Pause spawning new AI, right? Okay, and then what we can do is we can drag this node into here. Okay. And then we'll say on door opened, we will unpause spawning. Okay. All right, now I'm going to show you what this does. Okay. Now, let's try and remember the 4 creatures. Okay. 4 creatures that are tied to it are the only ones that you kill that are going to open that door. All right, there's the 4. All right. All right. Now, see, this is a problem. Okay. Let's go back. And we're going to give the AI conductor time to spawn shit. Okay. When those creatures are in that room, it's going to be a moot point. Okay. All right. Now, once we're in here, it's paused it. No big deal. Okay. Let me do this. Let me do this. Hindsight, right? Okay. Let's do this. I have to reconnect some crap. No, I don't. But this door is the one that it is locked. We need to switch that. That one. All right. All right, now save. I'm pretty sure that you guys understand the scenario that I'm talking about. But let's be honest, not everybody can follow logic and logical paths and have foresight in the breakdown of some logic. So I'm just going to prove this theory to you. All right. See? All right, here's the enemies. All right, all those guys are dead. Let's go ahead and set that to open. There's going to be enemies. And not every room is going to be as isolated as a small room that I've done this example in. Okay, you're going to end up having enemies in a room, so technically not all enemies will be cleared from that room. So therein lies the question, what do you do? How do you actually clear all enemies from a room? I'm going to show you. You don't need to use a counter. You can't use a counter, okay? You can't use a counter for the enemies killed. Let me say that. You cannot use a counter for enemies killed. I'm tired of people talking about, oh, you just need a counter, you need to count everything. Screw that. That is some of the crappiest code I've ever heard of, okay? All right, here's your integer, right? Now, I'm just going to go ahead and clear all this out, okay? This is the example for the one guy, okay? This is what he needs, okay? Show your creatures when you're entered in here, okay? On player entered, show your creatures. On killed, add to your reference integer. On changed, test the integer compare, right, to the number of creatures that you have, and then compare that to number of creatures killed. All right. On equal, you will unlock and open the door. Okay. That there is your answer. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a truly dynamic way of doing this. Okay. And it's not using a stupid count to count the enemies killed. Okay. So let's find a larger room. One that's kind of open. Do. All right. Now, if you want to truly find out if all creatures in a room are dead or not, and there is going to be on a good map, you're going to have a dynamic number of creatures. Okay, this is going to be an undefined amount. You need to use a module object. You need to use volume object. Actually, you need to use a volume object. You do not need to use module object. My mistake. Okay, so I'm going to Set the height of this to ungodly high. Grab this and manipulate it. Right. Show on start. It does not need to be seen in order for it to work. Turn the cooldown off. Okay. I don't think this is going to stretch all the way across. Yeah, it tops out at 2048. Okay, no big deal. Width. $20.48. Okay, so now we have a legit bounding box. Okay, that's covering every corner except the outside edge, right? So you're going to want to know what to do about this outside edge. Easy. We're going to use an AI inhibit spawning box. I'm sure there's somebody out there, some kind of hater out there. Oh my God, you're making it too difficult. It doesn't have to be that difficult, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, you go ahead and make your own little simpleton map, all right? And get a crap ton of thumbs down on it because it just, your logic in it sucks, all right? That's fine. I have no idea where that came from. That is weird. Just know that there's a lot of freaking issues with this map editor, okay? It's not perfect, but it'll do. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and it can overlap a little bit, that's fine, right? Size, we're going to make this 8. Okay. Alright. That makes sure that there's no room that they can actually spawn in, right? All right, you won't have to do this for every map. You will need to do this volume for the map, right? This map is just so large that we can't we can't actually fill the whole room with that volume. All right, but I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need this room for AI inhibitor. I'm going to here. Depth. Appropriate. Button combinations on this. All right. Now, come in this room, okay, and let's just say we have the far door locked. Okay. Side. No, I'm not. Let's leave that one open. All right, and then put. All right, so I've already got the AI conductor classic set to active. So we'll then say on player entered. One, we will lock that door. Two, on player entered. Actually, you don't even have to use that. We can use a separate one. There are issues on using same nodes, right? Things don't work as expected if you use the same node and just drag that to the other one. So for all intents and purposes of making sure that this works properly, I'm just going to use separate nodes for everything. Pause. And then we will say, let's see. So now we will say, now we will add an integer, not a counter. All right, add new. All this, entities. Okay. And then we will make another one. Integer. And we'll actually put that back here. Oh, this one, players. Right. Okay, and there's a lot of people that are talking about using, again, counters to count the players. Don't use a counter. Okay. Don't use a counter. All right. Over here, we need player proxy. Actually, I'll put it right next to that. All right. Player spawned. Add a number to it. Oh, I'm sorry. No. We want to make it player match joined. You don't want to say on spawn because that number will change every time that they spawn, which means after deaths. Okay, give you an inaccurate count. On match left, subtract an integer, right? You can change the value right here if you're trying to do something else. Okay, just remember your nodes have options as well on the logic. All right. Now, that's reference to players. Okay, because not all players are going to be in this volume, right? Somebody might hang back, you never know, and not ever come in here. Or you might be in here, and let's say you have a buddy join you. You got to think of all scenarios, right? All right, now, so that's reference to entities. Now we will say on entered, and this is the volume. On volume entered, going to add the integer. Okay. When exited, subtract an integer. Okay. Now, integer compare. Right hand side, we're going to swap for a variable. We're going to call it entities, or we're going to select entities. Okay. Create another value over here. Now I'm not knocking count completely. It is useful. I will. It is useful, right? For certain scenarios, certain things you want to do. This one we're going to call it enemies. Right? Okay, and then we're going to say on entities changed, we're going to see, where's it at? We're going to set everything that's in here. Okay, and then we're going to subtract. Okay, this part's key right here. All right, we're going to subtract players from it with an input delay of 1 because we want it to set that value first, all right, which needs to be reference to entities. Whoops. Okay. So we're going to set the reference of entities to that, and then we're going to subtract players. Okay. And then we're going to say on changed test, and the on changed needs to have an output delay of 2. Actually, we can make it 1, I think. Let's see. I'm going to make it 3 just to be safe. All right. And we'll say on equal unlock the door. Open the door. And the open door is going to have an input delay of 1. That way this one can reach it first. Okay, now back to this one here. Reference to enemies. Let's see. Entities, left side value is going to be reference to enemies. Alright, this one actually needs to be changed. Swap for variable constant. We're going to make that 0. Alright, so once enemies has reached 0, we're ready to move on. Okay. Now, let's go ahead, save, and test this. Now, there have been known to be issues with using a volume on top of a module object, right? Sometimes you're not considered to be in the module because you're in the editor. I mean, you're not considered to be in the module because you're in the volume, and vice versa. I've had issues with that in the past. But hopefully this is simple enough that it won't matter. Okay. So the AI spawn inhibitor should inhibit the enemies from spawning on the edges. Okay, that one's still locked. Enemies killed. Oh, okay, let me go ahead and change the variables so you can see them up in the HUD. Okay, so as you saw, As you saw, I came in here and unentered, exited. Okay, so I need a value that shows entities and enemies. HUD, top left, we're going to make that variable. We're going to change that to entities. Right? And top right will be not enemies killed, but enemies. Value will be enemies. Play. All right, you see that? Two entities, enemies is -1. Three entities. Now, as you just noticed, they went down after they despawned, right? Entities went from 3 to 1 after they despawned, not after they were actually killed. You guys really just, I want you guys to see how these things work, right? So, they don't exit until they're killed. They're not considered exited, right? On entered, on exited. Okay. Now, enemies was -1. Okay. Reference to entities. Okay. Whenever the number of entities changed, great. Okay, so here's another issue that you see. I know you guys saw me set that integer reference to entities, right? For some reason it's no longer entities. This one over here got changed to players, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that one is supposed to be players, but for some reason that one got changed. Okay, that's why I went -1. That one was set. That one wasn't set to anything. Okay, these are bugs in the system. Don't ask me why crap does that. I have no idea. I actually sent a message to Bethesda about an issue I was having, and their exact response was pretty much, "Sorry that you're having problems. Have a nice day." That's I have their email. If anyone wants to see it, you can send an email to linsenmeyer@outlook.com. I'll put that up on the screen here in a minute. You can see that. All right, so see, enemy spawned in that next room. He left. He's no longer considered in that room. enemies -1. Entities 1, enemies 0. The door is unlocked. Okay. Now it went to -1. It was supposed to go to -1 because there were no actual enemies in this room, right? Or inside this field. Okay? So that's why when I was standing over here and he left that area and came over here, you saw it go to -1 with no entities in there. And then as soon as I went in to this area, it changed to entities 1, enemies 0, and then the door unlocked. Okay. Now, for the email, if you guys, if anyone actually cares to see that email for exact response, God dang it. All right, that's my email address. All right, if you want a copy of the email that they sent me, send me an email and I will respond with it. Just be sure you let me know either in the subject or in the body of the message that that's what you're looking for. You can also send me emails requesting tutorials on specific scenarios and things that you want done. I'm going to make this a little bit more interesting. I'm going to global module cooldown, the number of seconds between spawns in each module. I'm going to change it to 10 seconds. Okay. Now just remember, whenever I enter that volume, it will stop spawning. That is actually important for you guys to do. You will have problems with enemies actually coming in here if if you're not using classic and you're using, what's the other one called? If you're not using classic, you're using survival, okay? Enemies will be coming from every direction, right? But it's got the same options as the classic. You can pause and restart and reset, all that good stuff, okay? This one says that demon encounters that do not respawn behind you, okay? The survival will, okay, because they come from everywhere. Just be sure that while you're in here, the scenario that would apply to this is, let's say you don't have the doors locked down. You have to kill everything in this room before it drops something. Let's say it drops a key card, it drops a BFG, whatever you're wanting. You need to pause that and let the creatures finish. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to run it one more time with the 10-second spawner. Alright, we got 2 entities in there. 2 of them are enemies. 1 of them is me. And then once they despawn, there you have it. Okay. Now, let's see if I can do one better and make it. I don't think I can do. Yeah, you can't do it on enemy killed. I don't think. But let me check. Yeah. Okay. So this is just what you're gonna have to deal with, right? There's gonna be slight delay between the time that the creatures die and that they actually despawn. Once they despawn, they're considered out of the box, right? So there you have it, guys. That is how you can create a room and be able to tell how many enemies are in it and when all the enemies are actually killed. This is good for spawners, right? Throw a spawner in here. Spawners are a little tricky because they don't spawn all of them at the same time. Okay? I'll show you what I mean. All right, 2 possessed workers and 1 possessed soldier. We'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Spawn in module. The area around the spawn location in which the demons can spawn. This is why I have those blockers in there that you can see around the outside edge. Okay. Spawn location is encounter. The location that the encounter will spawn at the activator's location or at the encounter object's location. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to have a group demon encounter everywhere in the map. Okay? If you set it to activator, you can reuse this one object over and over again. Okay? So let's do it here, and then we'll add another module. Crap. All right. On player entered module. Spawn the encounter. Okay. And then we've got it set to activator, right? Now you say, once we come in here, on player entered, spawn an encounter. All right, so you want to set it to activator. That way, wherever the person is at, whoever activated it, in this case, it's not actually the person, it's the room, right? Now, and you can set it to on key card pickup, like on a droppable pickup. So if I pick up a droppable, the activator is the droppable. Okay. You want to make. Oh. You want to make the map as dynamic as possible. Okay. Alright, so the spawner was just those 3 guys, right? 1 soldier, 2 workers. Here's the thing, I'll probably restart in the back end. In which case I'm screwed because I didn't put any code in place. See? Ugh. All right. So that'll probably be. All right. So what we'll do is we'll say AI player proxy. Okay. On player spawned, we want that door unlocked. These are all things that you're gonna have to think of whenever you're playing and whenever you're testing, whenever you're designing. All right. I'm not in that room yet, so there we go. Got more creatures. All right. So this is how you can use multiple wait for them to despawn. There you go. All right. So this is how you can use how you can create one spawner or multiple spawners and reuse them, right? So you can create different kinds of group spawners and then reuse your group spawners. Don't keep adding new ones. You're just eating up resources. Placing demons, as you can see, my demon percentage is at 0%, right? You shouldn't have to place demons themselves. Okay? It's nice to have that, right? Certain things. But that's why we have demon encounters, right? You have single demon encounters that you can use in place of that. Press X and you can choose anything. The only thing, something that's not in here in the single encounter, are the scientists. Okay. You also don't have a chainsaw or a pistol that you can place. Anyway, there you have it. Thanks for watching.